Yo, what's up guys, and welcome to a new explaining video. This time I'm gonna explain Mind Control, our latest track on found frequencies, which sounds like this. So my starting point for this project was that I wanted to make a track with a concept, like a story or just a track that had a point. And you see that a lot in hardstyle music and hardcore music, but not so much in house music. I found this documentary. It's a documentary about the US government, about the MK Ultra project.
This is the story of a 30-year search by US intelligence agencies to perfect mind control.
I just simply took some of these parts from this documentary by re-recording them on my computer.
Some of those engaged in that search.
I can use these vocals because the documentary is in the public domain. You can use everything that's in the public domain, like a lot of classical music is in the public domain because it's so old. You don't have to give any credits or you don't lose any rights if you use something from the public domain. Search through the internet for documentaries like these because sometimes they are really a goldmine, I think. When I rendered out the parts of the documentary that I liked, I then used Iris to take out the frequencies of the vocal that I didn't want. You know, as you heard, the old sound of the voiceover it's nice, but it's also pretty distorted. And after that, I just added a lot of compression, reverb, just to mask out those small bits that were not sounding great. One thing I did, for example, is adding this delay right here.
To perfect mind control.
And what I also did just before the second drop, I added an instance of Vocal Synth, which is a plugin which lets you add all sorts of effects to your vocal.
Mind control.
So with the vocal done, the theme was pretty clear. It's about mind control, it's about the human psyche. Naturally, I wanted the break to be fitting to that theme. And that's what I did with all the ambient kind of sounds. There's a pad going on, but also a lot of reverbed bass steps. So here we have the break pad.
This is the story of a 30-year search by US intelligence agencies to perfect mind control. Some of those engaged in that search have agreed to talk about it for the first time.
So since the vocal is about mind control and the break is about the human psyche and, you know, exploring that psyche, I wanted the drop to be like as if the human psyche is being broken. I wanted it to be harsh, really the opposite of what the break was. So that's why the drop is such a harsh one.
Going in this field, mind control.
In the second break, I just wanted it to be slightly trippier, so that's what this second break pad is doing. It's a very simple C note of a voice, and then with some automation on the LFO, on the volume, and some pitch automation as well. I have the complete drum loop right here. And one thing that's kind of special about this drum loop is the kick reverb right here. That reverb was simply needed there because the drop was so empty. There's only a synth going on, a clap, a kick, and a bass. So those elements all needed their own space and room in the mix. So that's what that tiny rendered reverb is doing there. I wanted the drums to be sounding snappy, especially in this second part.
Mind control.
Within FL Studio, you can use the attack parameters right here. But what you can also do is use the transient master plugin by Native Instruments. So this plugin is simply a way to put more focus on your attack instead of your sustain. And you can use it on leads, on vocals, on whatever. But yeah, in this case it really helps with making the closed hi-hats sounding more snappy. And right now it's off because I re-rendered the closed hi-hats. So yeah, a really snappy drum loop going on right there. The kick, the clap is just a really long sample, which I also rendered out. I think I still have it in battery right here. Completely processed to the bone, which I then rendered out. If you're a Patreon supporter, you get all these drum elements for free. The kick, the clap. And yeah, feel free to use them in your productions. So the sounds that I use in the drop are just two sounds. It's the bass sound, which is massive. Really simple pattern. And then we have the lead. Which is Harmer, of course. And I explained this a lot of times already, but basically you can throw a sound in Harmer and then alter the sound. So this sound was initially this sound. And this is just for the stereo. So that's the whole drop sound actually, just Harmer and a bass. Then later on we have this other lead going on, which is just a variation on the same lead that we already had. It's just a different timbre box. In the second drop there's a slightly different sound going on to make it sound a little bit heavier. And again, these sounds are just copies of the earlier sound, but with a different timbre. So we have this sound. Which has some harmonies being played with these knobs right here. And then we also have this sound. Together. So yeah, the notes are really simple, the patterns are really simple. I think the interesting part about this drop comes from all the variations that are going on.
Mind control. Has mind control been achieved? Has mind control been achieved?
Yeah, just the same as in the break, a lot of small effects to, you know, keep it interesting. What's also going on later in the drop is this effects loop right here. And here you can see that I use Transient Master to put focus on the attack of the sound. So yeah, that's the whole track. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something. If you like the track, please support it on Spotify, on Beatport, on whatever. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in another video.